Aditya was very excited today. He woke up early and was all set for an adventure. The teacher had told the class they were going on an excursion on a brand new bus. The destination was a surprise, so he was altogether even more excited. Aditya got ready in no time, and after finishing his breakfast, he waved goodbye to his mom. Aditya sat quietly at the bus stand. Some of the kids from other schools were talking, and he could hear them talking about Pigeon's superpower. Aditya was still waiting for his bus. There was heavy traffic today, with cars and buses honking loudly. Suddenly, Aditya heard someone coughing. He turned around and saw no one but a large tree. And then a gentle breeze carrying the fragrance of flowers blew over Aditya's face. He felt relaxed and mesmerized by the varying smell of the flowers. The old man sitting with his dog felt the breeze too and was in a blissful state. The dog and the old man sat next to Aditya, and the dog named Pluto started sniffing him and wagging his tail. Pluto liked Aditya, and they became instant friends. The man talked about the importance of trees, and Aditya listened carefully. Aditya was still petting Pluto when he heard his name called out. A big, yellow shining bus stopped at the stand, and he could see his friends and teacher through the glass windows. He waved goodbye to Pluto and the man and hopped onto the bus. Aditya sat next to his best friend Ananya. He was excited to see the new bus. It was an electric vehicle that ran on solar energy. It was extremely energy efficient and did not cause air pollution. Ananya talked about how electric vehicles were becoming more and more common all over the world. Ananya shared a lot of interesting facts and benefits of electric vehicles. Aditya listened to her attentively. Then she quietly let the secret out and whispered to Aditya. She said, "It's no ordinary bus, but the one that can fly in the sky." Aditya giggled and did not believe her. As the journey started, the teacher stood up and announced that they were going on an adventure. The bus was a flying EV bus, and it was going to be amazing to watch the clouds and birds up and close. Everybody got super excited. As the bus changed gears, it made a vroom sound. Then suddenly the front wheels lifted up and it began to take off. The kids got all excited. Some were nervous and some of them were super excited. The flying bus was stable now. All the kids were very happy to see the clouds so close. The clouds were of different shapes and sizes, and as the bus ascended, the shapes of the clouds also changed. Even the birds were surprised to see the flying bus. Cumulus clouds. They look like cotton wool. They exist in patches and can be seen dispersed here and there. Stratus clouds. They look like cotton wool. The presence of stratus clouds means a chilly, overcast day. Cirrus clouds. They are detached, thin clouds and have a feathery appearance. They are always white. Nimbus clouds. They are usually black or dark grey and block the sunlight. They mostly cause heavy rainfall and thunderstorms. Aditya and Ananya were just looking out the window and were lost in the beautiful cloudy sky when suddenly Ananya gasped at an unexpected object lurking outside the window. It looked like a long tail out of this world. Aditya saw that too and extended his hand to feel it through the glass. Everybody on the bus was shocked to see what was outside the bus. The teacher fainted, and the bus driver's mouth remained open in disbelief. But the other kids were delighted. What everybody saw was a huge dragon flapping its wings and smiling at them. A young child was sitting on this dragon with extended arms and greeted everybody on the bus. The bus driver halted the bus, and it hovered in the sky like a helicopter. All the kids wanted to know about Drake and the dragon rider. The dragon rider decided to share how they met. The dragon rider narrates the entire incident. It was 3 days after the forest fire was put out by our brave firemen and the rain from the sky, and I was now allowed to visit this big, beautiful forest. I love to be among the trees and butterflies and singing birds. It makes me happy being closer to nature. We can learn so much from our nature. The dragon rider continues and says, "One day I was playing in the forest by the lake when I heard drops of water falling on the ground. The sky was clear, so it could not be the raindrops. Then I saw the cutest koala bear sitting on a branch and happily munching some eucalyptus trees. Then out of nowhere, the tree began to shake slowly but firmly. It wasn't an earthquake. It was just that one tree that was shaking. I was confused and sensing danger. I was ready to run away. Then suddenly, the tree transformed into a huge dragon. It was Drake carrying a baby koala bear. He was green, beautiful, and looked majestic, but he was sad and crying. The water drops were his tears. Even though I was scared, he looked so sad, so I asked if I could help him in any way. The dragon rider says, Drake was shy at first, but then he introduced himself and the koala bear Cuckoo. He had rescued Cuckoo from the forest fire and wanted to give him a home. My uncle worked in a zoo, and I offered my help to relocate Cuckoo. Drake was very happy and thanked me for giving Cuckoo a new home. The dragon rider then shares Drake's story with all the kids and describes how Drake and his friends lived in the foothills of Mount Maine. They would come to the forest to enjoy the greenery and rivers, watch the butterflies, and smell the flowers. Dragons loved the eucalyptus trees because of their health benefits. The eucalyptus flower would help them heal and also give them the power to fly. Drake then explains to the dragon rider the fateful day. A few days ago, Drake and his group of friends were playing Jenga in the forest and having a good time. Then suddenly, Lyra, a female dragon, saw huge flames of fire at a distance. The eucalyptus trees were burning. No one knew the reason for the fire, and all the dragons were shocked. It was a worrisome situation, and Merlin, the wisest and most experienced among all the dragons, was not happy. He believed that it was the responsibility of everyone to protect nature. Merlin used all his experience and created a plan to extinguish the fire and protect the wild animals of the forest. They needed water to put out the forest fire, a lot of water. The sky was full of smoke from the fire, and there weren't any rain clouds around. Merlin asked Drake to gather all the animals and guide them towards a safe place closer to the river. Merlin and all the other dragons flew to gather the rainy clouds. They decided that Drake would fly back to them when the animals were safe and the rainfall came down. The dragons flew higher in the troposphere and started searching for the rain clouds. As they came closer to the rain clouds, they opened their giant wings and began flapping hard to sway them towards the fire. Drake gathered all kinds of animals he could find in the forest. There were deer, lambs, antelope, squirrels, hippopotamuses, even dogs, and many different types of birds and insects. Surprisingly, no animal was scared of Drake. Everybody knew Drake was there to help them. They joined the herd and moved quickly towards the river. After guiding all the animals towards safety, Drake looked up the sky to check on his friends, but the sky was dark and full of smoke. The rain was intense, but the fire was fierce too. Drake waited for a long time but could not find his friends. Most of the trees were burned, and without them, Drake felt weak and looked for a shelter to rest. Drake could see the confusion in the dragon rider's eyes. He then talks about the magical properties of eucalyptus trees. They grow very fast, and with a little bit of magic and human help, it was possible to cover the entire forest with green eucalyptus trees very quickly. The dragon rider was finally convinced and promised to put in all efforts to help Drake reach his home. The kids felt sorry for Drake. They thanked him for his efforts in putting out the forest fire and saving the wildlife. They decided to help Drake, but they needed their class teacher's permission. All of them said in unison, "Please, ma'am." The teacher was a kind person. She wanted to save Drake too. But the safety of all the children was her responsibility. Then, after a few minutes of thinking, she finally agreed. She gave strict instructions to everybody to stay together and be alert at all times. There was no room for any mischief whatsoever. The kids happily agreed. Drake and the dragon rider were very happy to find some help. Drake soared through the sky and led the school bus. Together, they sailed through the cloudy sky, the mountains, and plains. This was the best adventure for everyone. Drake and the bus landed in an open ground. Most of the trees were burnt out and there was no sign of life. However, there was one big tree standing tall and strong. It was a magical tree. Drake explained the trees had to be planted till the mountains. Only when enough oxygen is released by the trees, then the magical doors of Mount May would open up. Drake then pulled out a bag of seeds and gently touched it to the trunk of the mother tree. The bag of seeds started glowing magically. Drake knew the seeds had been activated and were ready to be sown. The kids hopped onto the bus and the bus took off to follow Drake. They started flying slowly towards the mountain. All the kids dropped the seeds through the bus windows and hoped for the best. The magical seeds started showing their magic. The eucalyptus trees began to germinate and grow all along the path of Mount May. They helped other herbs and shrubs to grow up too by sharing the nutrients with each other. The forest was becoming alive again. The seeds, saplings, and plants bloomed into lush trees and covered the whole area. There were different types of colorful flowers all around. The echo of birds chirping filled the air as they found new friends and a home to call their own. Ananya and Aditya, who stayed back on the ground with their teacher, could not believe their eyes. They were amazed to see the magic all around. The trees were back, and so were other wild animals and birds. Drake came back along with the other kids on the bus. The land was lush green, and the breeze was gentle. Everybody waited excitedly for the dragons to arrive. Then suddenly, there was a bright lightning, and a circular door opened up. Out came all 4 dragons. All the kids got super excited. They waved their hands and welcomed them with open arms. Merlin came down and met everyone. Drake was emotional and very happy to see all his friends. All the kids were excited to meet Merlin and the other dragons and invited them to their school. Merlin and Drake hugged each other. At last the 2 close friends were united. It was the best reunion ever. The end.